All right, hello and welcome to the Fantasy Fuck Ups podcast. Little spotty on the amount of episodes that we're getting. We're trying to get our feet under us here, but we're excited to be back with another episode for you guys. We're going to be covering week 3, and it was a nasty week.
It depends who you were playing.
I lost all of my matchups, so it was particularly nasty for me, but I just mean like the product, the performances, the top 5 for a lot of stuff was like, it was just Juwan Jennings was the number one receiver.
That's what I was thinking too.
You've got Deontay Johnson going crazy. It was an ugly week. You beat me. We were playing in one league, so congratulations to you on that.
Yeah, I won all my leagues except one. Had a big comeback.
I thought I was going to win them all, and I won none.
Yeah.
We had some more injuries after this week, so if you could give us an injury update, if you've got that pulled up.
I do. NFL injury report for week 4. Starting with Justin Herbert, has an ongoing ankle injury. He was seen on the sidelines of practice with a taped up ankle. I haven't heard anything serious about it. Sam Darnold injured his knee. They did a round of tests and exams, and there was no structural damage. He's looking to play against Green Bay this weekend. Skylar Thompson, chest ribs. I don't think that really counts as fantasy relevancy. I don't know anybody who's streaming Skylar Thompson.
No. Did he show his ass to everybody?
I don't know if I saw that, Zach.
I saw a photo of someone getting sacked, and I guess, I don't know if, I never saw it. I didn't get to watch every second of every game, but I think he got his hiney pulled out.
I'm going to have to rewatch that to see, now that I want to see his hiney, but now I'm curious. Steelers running backs are banged up. Najee Harris had a sling on his right arm. At one point in the locker room, Jaylen Warren is getting an MRI on his knee, so watch that. And if you do have Najee Harris and he plays, he's probably going to eat with Jaylen Warren looking to be out.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, Devontae Smith had a concussion.
The bummer for me.
Yeah, big bummer.
I have the Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith stack in 2 different leagues. So
that's a rough week.
Yeah.
And now that Jalen Hurts has been playing out of his mind, he
scored 10 points for me this past week. It's QB scoring, whatever, dude. It is what it is. If you don't get a touchdown, you don't get anything. But it's like he threw for 320 yards or something like that, and he scored 10, and he rushed for not very much. Typically, he has more than 30 rushing yards, but it's just like, you throw for 300 yards, you get 10 points because, he didn't throw for any touchdowns. So
he did not. Amari Cooper has an undisclosed injury. Keep an eye on that. Adam Thielen, hamstring. He's going to be out. I believe they placed him on the injury report. That he's going on the IR
now, is he?
I think I saw something that he might be going on the IR.
Damn.
Jordan Addison injured his ankle a while back. I don't know if he'll play this week, but keep an eye on that. Tight end Sam Laporta had an injury to his ankle. Looks like he's going to play this weekend from what I've seen. And Tremor had a concussion. And David Njoku had an ankle injury. He may or may not be available, according to Kevin Stefanski. And that's all I got.
I followed the fantasy source on Twitter, and they said players who did not practice on Wednesday: Joe Mixon ankle, Tank Dell chest, Damian Pierce hammy, Debo calf, Evan Ingram hammy, Trey McBride concussion, AJ Brown hammy, Devonta Smith concussion, Alvin Kamara hip ribs, Najee just says rest, Jaylen Warren knee, Chuba rest, Njoku ankle, Jerome Ford knee, Myles Garrett foot, Achilles, and thigh, which is quite the laundry list of problems. Max Crosby ankle, and Austin Eckler, it says concussion already ruled out for week 4.
Speaking of injuries, I have a question. I want to know from the fans. I like this trade. I feel myself unsure about Christian McCaffrey. Someone offered me Christian McCaffrey for Mike Evans in a straight up swap. And my thought process is Mike Evans is a good receiver. He's going to put up some points. But when and if Christian McCaffrey comes back, I already got a stacked team. That could be my league winner right there.
It could. He's in Germany right now trying to get, I guess, more info or maybe a special treatment. I don't know what exactly he's doing out there, but I don't know. I've thought about, because I picked up Jordan Mason, I've thought about trying to make some trades for Henry, but then on the flip side of it, I just get worried they're going to want a lot. Now, in that case, if you're already good at wide receiver and all you have to give up is Mike Evans and maybe he was like a flex / bench option for you week to week, then it's not really hurting your team that much. And yeah, I would do that because we had talked about that off air. I think throwing the dart on that is good because, like you said, if your team's stacked and he comes back in, week 10 or something, and you get to ride him to the championship.
Yeah, I have a solid team. Bijan Robinson. I have Etienne at running back, Jamar Chase, Brian Thomas, DK Metcalf, Xavier Worthy, which Xavier Worthy's been a letdown since that solid week 1.
I know, man. He really exploded onto the scene, and I really thought this past week with Pacheco going down that, they would have done some more stuff for Worthy, but I don't know. We'll see what happens there. So,
another
all
nice
right, do you want to get into the studs and duds?
Yeah. Sorry, I was going to tell you about another trade I was excited about, but we can move into studs and duds.
Tell me.
No, I was excited. I picked up Juwan Jennings off the waiver wire, and
yeah,
I spent a little bit of fab on him, and that's fine, but I traded him straight up for Rome Odunze. Partially because I'm a Bears stan, and partially because I think Rome Odunze is just a better wide receiver.
Whenever Ayuk, whatever, we'll talk about him later, whenever he finally gets up to speed, and then you've got Debo coming back and Kittle coming back, just because Juwan Jennings had a huge week 3, I don't think that he's now supplanted any of the other receiving options that were out. But like Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen's got a heel injury that might linger for the entire year. Yep. And he seems to be the downfield threat. Even though DJ Moore is very shifty and fast, it seems that Odunze is who they're looking to use as like deep threat for them.
I'm excited about it.
And Caleb likes to run around and then fire it down the field.
Yeah, but studs and duds, let's move on. Let me know what your opinions are in the comments, please.
All right, studs and duds. I'm going to hit you with some studs. I'm going to give you the top 5 performers at each position for the week, and then I'm going to highlight some of the duds that people actually care about. I'm not going to put a Skylar Thompson in as a dud. We all predicted that was going to happen. But stud QBs, Josh Allen looked amazing. Dak,
yes, he did.
He ended up as the number 2, but he really got there. I don't know. They had a pretty amazing fourth quarter trying to mount a comeback. Jaden Daniels looked really good Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Lamar and then Brock Purdy. Those were the top 5. What do you think about the stud QBs?
Oh, Josh Allen looked good. Dak had a good rebound game. I think he's going to continue that trend upwards. Brock Purdy, I think with the injuries at San Francisco, I like him. He really manages the game well and puts the ball down the field. You also got to look at, 178 of those yards and 3 tutties were to one player.
Yeah.
So he's got to get some position players back. Lamar Jackson, he's going to put up points with his legs and his arm. He's always been solid at fantasy. I'd keep riding that horse until the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
And who was the last one?
Jaden Daniels.
Oh, God.
He looked good.
So good.
He looked really good. I mean, he was actually sliding a little bit, getting down before contact.
Yeah, but he was putting the ball down the field. That's just something that we haven't seen from him.
Yeah. Terry McLaurin finally has fantasy value.
Yeah, he was supposed to have fantasy value for the last 2 to 3 years. And
I know.
Now it's coming to fruition when I don't have him on my team. So.
I know. It's exciting. But dud QBs, Jalen Hurts, Stroud, Lawrence, Baker, Carr. Baker and Carr finally came back to earth. I think Baker can still do. Derek Carr, obviously he can do. Derek Carr was doing so well that I had a couple DraftKings leagues where I did a Carr Shaheed stack, and Shaheed got 0 points, so that's pretty dope.
Yeah, that doesn't sound dope at all.
Stroud, are you worried about Stroud?
Nah, I think he'll bounce back just fine. I like CJ Stroud. I like the weapons he has around him. It'll help when Mixon comes back, which I think will be this week. I'm hoping. I have him on my bench right now, hoping to put him in the starting lineup.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence, I mean, you can just drop him and move on, right?
I think so. I think Trevor Lawrence, we've seen enough that, man, he just doesn't have it. I don't know if it's Trevor Lawrence. He doesn't have it.
Yeah.
He sailed some balls, threw too many picks. He just couldn't get the ball down the field.
It's not good.
He has some weapons down there. Yeah.
Somebody in my league just dropped Brian Thomas Jr.
That's dumb. I would pick him up.
It's a 10-team league, and we don't have that many bench spots. And people, I think, dude, someone else dropped Jalen Waddle. Yeah, we can talk about that. Let's get to the stud RBs. We'll talk about the duds in the wide receiver, but yeah, stud RBs. You got Saquon, Kyron, Henry, Chuba, Taylor. Saquon and Henry, I was playing against both of them in one of my leagues, and it was just like, just stop, please stop. And it was compounded by the fact that I have Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith, and Devonta Smith goes out, and then Saquon rips off like a 45-yard touchdown run, and I'm just like, damn it. Couldn't have been a screen pass, so I could have got some value out of this.
Yeah, that's just my line. Saquon
looks amazing. And do you think we're all so dumb for him being like a second-round pick?
New team, new offense, great offensive line. Yeah, I think we're dumb. I wanted Saquon Barkley. It just didn't stack right for me to pick him in any league. I've always liked Saquon. He was an amazing fantasy player on a garbage New York team. Put him behind the offensive line. And gosh, as you can see, the results are there.
Yeah, they made DeAndre Swift look good.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
All right, dud RBs. Jordan Mason, I was a little bit disappointed about that. I put Brian Robinson Jr. on here. He didn't look bad. I didn't totally look at his stat line during the game, but he didn't end up looking great. I think Austin Eckler had that touchdown. I think Brian Robinson Jr. ended up getting a touchdown as well. I'd have to go back and look at the stats, but he did not have as good of a night as I was hoping for with all those points that they had put up. And then the biggest dud RB, because I have invested in this man, is Devon Achane.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying to buy low on him right now.
Yeah, I'm not going to let you buy him low, anyone in the leagues that I own him in, if that's what you're thinking, because I don't know. Look, I get it, man. The offense is what it is with no Tua, but it's just, I think he had 5 targets and 3 receptions, and I guess I just expected Alvin Kamara check down usage, like 8 targets and 6 or 5 receptions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then you got Mostert that's probably going to be back soon, so I just wonder if they're waiting on Tua. I don't know, man. If Skylar Thompson's in charge of that offense, they got problems, and we can talk about that in the wide receivers here in a second. Do you have any other dud RBs? Anybody on your teams that disappointed you?
Yeah.
Or so far this season that's been letting you down?
For me, duds. Not really. I've had really good luck with my RBs. Zach Moss put up some points this week. I rode him and Josh Allen to a fantasy win this week.
There you go.
Where I was playing old Brian Robinson, and I'm glad he had a dud week because I won by about 2 points on a garbage time touchdown with Zach Moss. It was
there you go,
RB
man.
too.
All right, stud wide receivers, top of the list, Jawan Jennings. Can this be sustainable? A lot of people went out and spent fab on him. You even did, but you smartly, in my opinion, flipped him immediately.
Yeah, I picked him up.
What is he really?
I don't know. That's the point. I picked him up in 2 leagues. He's looked all right. I don't know if we'll see another 178 yards, 3 touchdown performance, but
I do. He won't.
You don't know that. You didn't know he's going to have
if that happens again this year, I'm whatever.
Yeah, but I picked him up in 2 leagues. Just what if? Fantasy's a big what if sometimes. And if he has another big game, I'm going to flip him because I don't think it's sustainable, especially when you get Debo back fully healthy, Ayuk, and Chris McCaffrey gets back there, if and when, yeah, that offense is just going to not run through Juwan Jennings. I don't see it.
Yeah, never should have in the first place, but I don't know. I didn't really get to watch a ton of that game. I don't know. I saw one of his touchdowns. He just literally was uncovered. He was standing there with no one else within 10 feet of him. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe people just weren't. But then he also had that. He mossed that dude. Like, reached up and snagged him. I'm not trying to knock the talent. It's just like whenever you've got Ayuk there and you're like, you just gave this man money. How are we not hyper targeting? Whatever. Well, we'll see how this next week goes. Chase finally did something, Jamar Chase, so that was nice. Rashee Rice looked good. Amari Cooper finally did some things. Deontay Johnson is finally fantasy relevant again now that Bryce is out of there. And Malik Neighbors,
Red Rocket.
Some other stuff. Yeah, the Red Rocket. Dude, everyone was saying, oh, it's not really Bryce's fault. What can you do with that kind of offensive line? Well, apparently you can go out and beat the fuck out of the Raiders.
Sure can. Sure did.
And he was dropping dimes too, dude.
Yeah, it was. Looking like Joe Flacco yesteryear.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes. I don't know, man. I Deontay Johnson, waivers just ran yesterday. I put in a fab bid on him and I actually bid quite a bit. I think I bid $40, $45. And
oh wow.
This is a league where we have $200 of fab, but still that's a good portion of it. And did not win him in that one. And Malik Neighbors, man, I didn't think Daniel Jones would be able to support his value going where he was in drafts, but man, Malik Neighbors looks amazing.
Let me be the first to say I was incorrect on how I thought that was going to play out. I thought Danny Dimes was just going to suck worse than he has.
Well, he doesn't look great.
But he's just throwing the ball to Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is so good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. All right, some dud wide receivers, Nico and Tank Dell. I understand that Stroud had a tough day, but this is what me and you were talking about on the like ADP risers and fallers and players we were targeting in the draft. Nico and Tank Dell have a super shitty day, and Stephon Diggs goes 7 for 95.
Yep.
And it's just, I don't know. That was my fear. I think Nico is a little bit more... He's definitely the alpha there, so I think him having a down week is more of an outlier, but like Diggs 2 weeks ago was not great, and then he was, and then week 1 he was great, mainly because he had a touchdown, and then Tank Dell's been disappointing this whole time, so I don't know. It's just...
Points can go to any one of those receivers, like, excuse me, good points, like a good amount of points each week, and someone's going to be left in the dark. You're not going to be able to let 3 wide receivers eat.
Yeah. Brandon Ayuk. I guess I'm still just waiting. I don't know what to do on that.
I'd continue waiting. I think he's going to go the way of Jamar Chase.
I hope.
He skipped a lot of camp.
He skipped all of it.
Oh, that's a lot.
I don't know. CeeDee Lamb, it was surprising that he had such a crappy day because I'd have to go back and check the stats on this, but I want to say that Dak threw the ball like 55 times in that game.
Yeah, he had a lot of points.
So for Lamb to not have a good day, I don't know. Obviously that's not that big of a deal. It's not like you're going to bench Lamb or...
Yeah, and it could have been the coverage on him. You're going to cover the number 1.
Dud, another dud. Michael Pittman. I saw 2 or 3 people in a couple different leagues that I'm in just dropped it. I don't even want to mess with this because I'm going to be tempted to play him. Anthony Richardson looks like shit. He's
AR-15.
Throwing interceptions.
He cannot throw the ball very well, or he hasn't shown that he can. I watched
unless it's like a 65-yard pass to Alec Pierce. It's just all dog shit.
Yep.
All right, so what should people do with Tyreek and Waddle? That's the next duds on the list. Obviously, Tyreek, they're probably going to find ways to get the ball in his hands, whether it be having him do little, toss sweep pitches or like whatever the case may be. But like I said before, somebody just dropped Waddle. And I'm like, I want to win this fab bid. I have $180 left out of $200. And I think, I don't know. I just like, part of me wants to unload like 80 fab or something on him. But then the other part of me is, dude, if they tell Tua to sit out the rest of I don't know. What do you think the Dolphin situation is?
I think it's a gamble either way. If I had Tyreek Hill in any league, I'd be trying to trade his tier 1 name for high tier 2 wide receiver. That's what I'd be trying to do.
Give me some names. Who would you take? If you had Tyreek Hill, who would you take?
I see tier 2.
You just gave away Mike Evans for an injured CMC. Would you give up CMC for Mike Evans for Tyreek Hill?
No. Maybe. No. I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I would be tempted, but I wouldn't do it.
I would trade Ayuk for Tyreek Hill.
I think Ayuk, someone like that.
Nobody's going to take that, but.
I'm trying to think of some wide receivers have been kind of all over the map this year.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Cooper Kupp, who's going to be coming back.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I understand that the person who has Tyreek, there's nothing wrong with Tyreek. It's a Skylar Thompson problem. And so they're just in their minds like, dude, Tua's already said he's not going to retire. He's on IR. He'll probably be back in like week 6, week 7. I'll just ride it out. I'm not going to take some shitty trade for this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But how do you feel about Waddle? That's a different story. I mean, somebody just dropped Waddle. Do you think I should? How much fab would you unload?
I'd unload 80 on him. I'd try and get Waddle on the off chance that Tua does come back. But going back to your other question, I would probably make you an Olave. Would be someone I'd try to trade for.
Yeah, I've got Olave.
Derek Carson playing well, and he should be the man down there.
He should be. Shaheed, he was on the dud list because he got a goose, mainly because I finally picked him up and put him in my lineup. All right, let's move on to tight ends. Stud Dallas Goedert.
Yep.
Dude had 11 for 170 or something.
On a lot of people's benches. That's all I heard all weekend. Goddard on someone's bench. Goddard on someone's bench.
Oh, yeah. Was that, you think that was a lot of the people's fuck ups of the week, was Goddard on the bench?
I think so.
Yeah. All right. So give me your thoughts on Cole Kmet since you're a Bears fan.
That passing game is starting to look better. Caleb Williams has improved each week. I think he's going to continue to improve. Defense is championship caliber. So I think they're going to get the ball a lot. I think over the season, he's going to fit into that scheme. Shane Waldron is going to figure it out, and that offensive line is going to be less trash-like. They look like a big dumpster fire, but if they can really start running the ball like they did with Roschon Johnson this weekend, I think that those numbers are going to continue. I don't think he's going to have big 22-point games, but I think he's going to be a reliable tight end.
Yeah. Dalton Kincaid was another stud tight end, which I was relieved to see because I drafted him, in the 5th or 6th round in one of my leagues, and I was waiting for that to pay off. But I will say that Bills offense, man, at the beginning of the year, me and you were talking like, who are the actual people, man? There's so many vacated targets. They have to go to Kincaid. And we talked about Khalil Shakir. He had made the comment to somebody that was like, Joe Brady's offense, dude, like there is no guy. Everybody's going to eat. And that was could not be any more true than what happened, last Monday night, because it was like 4 touchdowns in the first half.
4 different,
Four different receivers. Yep. Just spreading the damn ball everywhere. And it's like, damn, it worries me a little bit that it limits Kincaid's upside, but I don't know. With how trash the tight end position is, I'll live with 4 receptions and a touchdown.
Yes, the tight end position. Sam Laporte has been a super annoying disappointment.
Douglas, Bowers, Kelsey, Laporta, McBride.
I think Bowers will continue to see targets. He's going to continue to be a big part of that offense. McBride depends on the concussion. I think he's still going to do well, but he got knocked out.
Yeah. Laporta's usage, though, has been very surprising to me.
You also got to look at Goff. Didn't start out the season hot last year. And
he's not started out well this year.
Through the season, he just continued to get better and better. And I'm hoping that trend continues this year because he hasn't looked midseason golf from last year where he was just throwing around fantasy points. And
what about Kelsey? Are you panicked?
If I'm a Kelsey owner, I'm trying to sell his name right now. I am panicked.
Yeah, somebody just sold him to me. So,
especially since Patrick Mahomes hasn't looked very good.
Yeah, I mean, they're always winning. Find a way. But dude, Patrick Mahomes, the ugly truth about Patrick Mahomes is that he hasn't been like a great fantasy quarterback for 2 years.
Yep, I agree.
He's not returning the value that you think, oh, Patrick Mahomes, dude, he's putting up like 18 points or some shit.
The Chiefs or the refs find a way to win those games for him.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? All right, we're moving on to top waiver ads. Waivers have already run. We didn't get to do this prior to, but some of the big names that people were looking to add was Juwan Jennings, Bucky Irving, Braylon Allen, and Cam Akers. Don't really understand the Cam Akers thing because Joe Mixon's going to be back very soon, but I guess maybe they were just trying to say he doesn't look too bad. Spend 10, 15% fab on him.
I dropped Cam Akers today.
Did you?
Yeah, I sure did. I think I was making room for Juwan Jennings.
Okay. So Juwan Jennings was the top waiver ad. We already covered him. Bucky Irving, we talked about our Rashad White concerns on the last episode, but
he's still looking bad. Bucky Irving had a decent game. I think you're going to see that target share start to lean more towards Bucky Irving because with him not running well and his yards per carry being in the crapper, I don't see how they can keep playing him.
Yeah.
It was the same thing last year. We talked about the volume. He was a good player last year because of the volume. It's not there this year.
We also talked about his inefficiency, like how shitty of a runner he was.
Yeah, he wasn't good.
And Bucky Irving, man, yeah. And Braylon Allen, what do you think about him?
Oh, I like Braylon Allen.
He looks like a beast, dude. Did you see that play where that guy hit him in the backfield right when he got the ball and he just shoved him off of him?
Yeah, I like Braylon Allen. I just don't know.
Breece Hall is in front of him, obviously, so it's like he's not going to get a ton of touches, but he is making the most of the opportunities that he is given, and if they're going to...
Yeah, that's my point. I don't know how many touches they can really give him a game with Breece Hall being the number one there.
Yeah, I think he's just pretty much like top handcuff at this point. He's going to have the opportunities to maybe get a touchdown here and there. He's not going to have the volume to be like a smash start in any situation, but he's just so impressive that I have him in our Dynasty League, but I'm not going to claim to be smart on that. I just picked him at the very end because I was like, who am I even allowed to take at the end of this thing? But I have seen people in my other leagues starting to add Braylon Allen. And I got to say, if Breece Hall gets hurt, that's fucking league-winning upside.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah. Side note, Garrett Wilson, Tyreek Hill. I've been thinking about this thing. That's who I would go after is Garrett Wilson. I might throw a spear in the pot, Tyreek Hill, to get Garrett Wilson. I think he's going to break out. Aaron Rodgers is starting to look like Aaron Rodgers. That is who I take Tyreek Hill for.
He did. He was on. I had looked up buy low, sell high, and I think he was on. Oh no, he was on the sit-em list, not the trade away list. But I'm not with you on that. Garrett Wilson. If I could buy low on him, I think I'd like to maybe see if that's an option.
Yeah.
The last segment I was going to do was the two players you're excited about and two players you're bummed out about. And I have an intro for it if you're ready to hear it.
Let's hear it.
Welcome to Bricked Up and Bummed Out, our new segment potentially sponsored by GoodRx. No one should have to pay higher prices for important medications, from sexual health to mental health and everything in between. Easier savings are just a download away. Get the GoodRx app today in the Apple App Store and on Google Play. Okay, Adam, tell me two players who have you so excited you feel like you popped a Cialis, and which players have you feeling like you need a Zoloft and Buffalo Trace cocktail just to get through the night?
If Christian Kirk doesn't have me bricked up, I'm excited that he actually had fantasy relevancy this week. As far as players I'm excited about, Rome Odunze. He had a good week. I'm hoping he's going to continue that. Like I said, I used the guy's 49er fandom against him he's a 49er fan. I knew I had to spend some fab on Juwan Jennings, so I snagged him and traded him after that ridiculous performance that I don't think he'll repeat, but he could. So I'm bricked up about Rome Odunze. Players I'm bummed about. Brock Bowers. I still think he's going to be a big part of that offense, but he just hasn't shown it. And Zoloft. Who would I take a Zoloft to be bummed out about? I don't know. Actually, I'll say this. I'm bummed out about Zach Charbonnet going back to the bench when Kenneth Walker comes back, because he's been a fantasy stud. I was smart enough to draft him in our rookie league. I'm not going to say I was smart enough. I just had to get a running back, and he was left. And I drafted him in a couple different leagues as a handcuff for Kenneth Walker, and it's really paid off.
Yeah. He had a great week against me. So, yeah, that was certainly...
He's had a great week. Every week he's been in relief for Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, with the injury to...
That's my biggest worry, is that they're going to split that backfield because he's been so good.
And Ken Walker, the oblique injury, this is not the first time he's had that injury.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You just wonder if... I don't know. Is it going to...
When Ken Walker comes back, if somebody drops him, I'd pick him up.
Oh, yeah, 100%. All right, two players that got me bricked up. Deontay Johnson. I was excited to see, because, a lot of people, he was such like a volume monster at the Steelers, and whenever he went over to the Panthers, obviously I wasn't excited about it because Bryce Young sucks, but at the same time, you're like, hell, he supported Adam Thielen last year, and then you get to see Deontay Johnson. I don't even know if you would call Andy Dalton good, but god damn. Like, he had a great day. Yeah, he was like 11 for 111 or something. And yeah, I'm excited about him. I was not able to get him on the waivers. I didn't bid enough for him, so bummed that I missed out on that. And then the other person that I'm excited about is Malik Neighbors. I got him in one of our leagues, and he's exceeded my expectations. I didn't even start him week 1, and now I just feel like it's so awesome to know, like, this dude's just in my line.
A smash start, guaranteed.
Yeah, man, because it's like I've got Ayuk and Olave and these other receivers where I'm like, I feel like they should be smash starts, but they're not. So bummed out. That takes me to Brandon Ayuk. He should have had so much opportunity last week, and he ends with 4 for, I don't even want to talk about the stat line. It was a dog shit stat line, and Juwan Jennings just gets everything. And I don't know. I'm still waiting on him to put it together. I don't know how long I can keep putting him in my lineup because it's been biting me in the ass.
That's how I feel about Christian Kirk, but I made the decision this weekend, instead of starting I was trying to start Christian Watson instead of Christian Kirk, and I talked myself out of it and ended up winning me the game because he had a relevant week. He scored like 14 or 15 points, and he's been a bummer the entire year.
Yeah. So the other bummer that I have on my bummed out list here is Devon Achane, because like I said, I've invested in him and I've got him in 2 other leagues, and it was looking great until Tua went down. And then even after Tua went down, Skylar Thompson came in at the end of that game in, what was it, week 3?
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess it would have been week 2. And he was just like checking the ball down. Boom. And I was like, okay, if this is what this is going to look like, then whatever. I'll keep rolling with the guy. But I put Devon Achane / Dolphins wide receivers because we've already hammered this issue, but it's just like, fuck, dude. If you've got these players, you spent tons of draft capital on them.
Mm-hmm.
If you took Achane, you took him early. If you took Tyreek, you took him in the first 4 picks. Waddle, you got him in the 4th, 5th round, maybe even earlier than that. And it's just, these people aren't even fucking usable.
I know. Trade on his name. They are. They're fucking... You're right. Achane did have that really good week. The first week Skylar Thompson was in. I was watching him, and I was pissed off because all I did was talk about his 185-pound frame and how he's going to get injured. But they used him like a workhorse, and he was up for the challenge.
I know. I was excited to see it, and now I'm bummed. I went from Cialis level to Zoloft.
Yeah, better RX.
Pretty quickly on Is there anything else you want to cover in this episode before we wrap it up for the evening?
Yeah. And hey, fuckers, give us an ad. Give us a follow. Come on, we're trying to do some lives maybe on a Sunday, but apparently TikTok, you have to have 1,000 followers to do a live.
Yeah, I would like to do some live streams. I didn't get many responses on Fuck Up of the Week or Spicy Selection, so I will keep trying to plug those promos for the next week. Here, I'll ask you. Last week you had a spicy selection of Huge. Did you have a spicy selection from this week?
Who was my spicy selection last week?
Huge. Quentin Johnson.
Oh, yeah, no, that was my spicy selection. This week, my spicy selection that did well, Zach Moss.
But probably just with regular people.
No, Zach Moss. He was my spicy selection this week.
Yeah,
he got
that's not a bad one.
20 points.
But a spicy selection, it's really got to be like Juwan Jennings. I picked up and I played Juwan Jennings in my flex because I had so many people that were hurt and blah, blah, blah. I want to hear that.
Or Goddard. Anybody who played Goddard. If you played Goddard, let me know. I'm curious if anybody.
I want it to be. Yes. I just need it to be like off the radar. Like somebody in the first couple weeks that played Alec Pierce and took that shot, or somebody who I'll even accept somebody saying I played Andy Dalton last week.
Yeah. Andy Dalton looked good.
That's pretty spicy.
Red Rocket, Slinging the Rock. I love it. Yeah. I don't have any spicy selections for this coming week. I'm pretty going.
All right. Well, we're going to keep.
Sorry. Go ahead.
We'll keep plugging away at these segments. We'll try to get everything nailed down, and I will definitely reach out to some people next week to try to get some better responses for our spicy selection of Fuck Up of the Week.
And I think you should bring out the Dune Fuck Bucket. I think we need to have that segment.
Yeah, no, it's in the closet.
Yeah.
I'll clean it up and bring it over.
Yeah.
Because I've been eating popcorn.
Yeah. With your dick.
I've been pretending to be the sandworm. All right. All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later. I'll try to get this thing edited and put up.
All right. See you, fuckers.
All right. See you guys.